For years, the world saw her as just posh spice, the pop star with the pout, the designer handbag, and the famous husband. But what if I told you that Victoria Beckham's rise in the world of fashion wasn't a smooth transformation from celebrity to style icon, but a brutal uphill battle, filled with criticism, whispers of failure, and questions about whether she even belonged in the industry at all? Because behind the polished smile, the Paris runway lights, and the flawless Instagram posts, there's a story of reinvention that almost didn't happen. In an industry that eats its own, Victoria Beckham was never supposed to make it this far. The fashion elite dismissed her as a poser, a pop star trying to play designer. Her collections were mocked, her business struggled, and the media couldn't wait to label her brand a vanity project funded by her husband. But 2 decades later, she's not just part of fashion, she's commanding it. Her designs are worn by royalty, her shows headline Paris Fashion Week, and her name is now synonymous with timeless sophistication. And now, with her new Netflix documentary pulling back the curtain on her most vulnerable years, we're seeing a very different side of Victoria Beckham, the perfectionist, the fighter, the woman who turned the world's laughter into legacy. This is the untold story of how Victoria Beckham went from being underestimated to being unstoppable. But to understand how she earned her place among fashion royalty, we need to go back to the moment she stepped away from the Spice Girls spotlight and into a world that didn't want her there. And what happened next? It changed everything. Paris Fashion Week, a stage reserved for the bold, the beautiful, and the untouchable. And yet, among all the glitz and chaos, one moment stood out above the rest. Victoria Beckham's entire family, minus one, sitting front row, cheering her on as her 2026 Spring-Summer collection debuted. It wasn't just another runway show. It felt like a full-circle moment. The pop star who had once been mocked for trying to play fashion designer was now owning Paris, with her family as living proof of her success. David Beckham looked effortlessly sharp in his tailored gray suit, while Harper, just 15, stunned in a pink gown that whispered both elegance and innocence. Cruz came dressed like a walking editorial, bold polka dots, layered confidence, a young man proud of his mother's legacy. And Romeo? His look was pure nostalgia, a vintage Gucci jacket that paid homage to the late 90s, back when his parents were rewriting pop culture. It was a subtle nod to their beginnings, 2 icons in love, surviving the tabloids, and proving the world wrong. But inside the venue, cameras caught something rare. Victoria, visibly emotional, leaning in to kiss David as the crowd erupted in applause. For a woman known for her perfect poise, that one gesture said it all. This was more than fashion. It was vindication. But as perfect as that front row picture seemed, fans couldn't help noticing something missing, or rather, someone. And that's where the story takes a surprising turn. While the rest of the Beckham family turned heads in Paris, the absence of their oldest son, Brooklyn, raised eyebrows. In a family known for its picture-perfect public appearances, his no-show didn't go unnoticed. Social media lit up with speculation. Was he busy? Was there tension? Fans recalled cast whispers of family friction, Brooklyn's growing independence, his Hollywood lifestyle, and the way he's often been missing from major Beckham moments. Insiders hinted that it wasn't a snub, just a scheduling conflict. Brooklyn's been focused on his creative projects in the US, often traveling with his wife Nicola Peltz. Still, the optics were hard to ignore. With Victoria opening up emotionally in the days before her show, fans wondered if his absence carried deeper meaning. What's interesting is how Victoria handled it. No statements, no forced explanations, just quiet grace, letting the family moment speak for itself. And in the world of celebrity, silence can sometimes be the loudest response of all. But if Brooklyn's absence stirred curiosity, what his siblings wore that night said even more. Because this time, the fashion itself told the story. Fashion is Victoria Beckham's language, and her family just became the punctuation marks. Every outfit, every color, every pose seemed carefully coordinated, yet deeply personal. Romeo's throwback Gucci jacket wasn't just stylish, it was symbolic. The crest design mirrored the same pieces his parents famously wore in 1999, right after their whirlwind rise to fame. It was a subtle nod to their beginnings, two icons in love, surviving the tabloids, and proving the world wrong. But Cruz, on the other hand, broke away from classic Beckham polish with something bolder. His oversized polka-dotted coat screamed rebellion, while his t-shirt, printed with "You wanna know how it looks," felt like a message to the press that never stopped questioning her mother's career. Then there was Harper, radiating softness in a pink gown that perfectly contrasted Victoria's structured gray suit. It's as if the youngest Beckham embodied innocence and support, the next generation quietly inheriting her mother's legacy. And when Victoria walked out at the end of the show, you could feel it. This wasn't about proving herself anymore. It was about celebrating survival, both personal and professional. But what fans didn't know was that behind all the glamour, there had been years of financial struggle, doubt, and sleepless nights. And Victoria finally admitted it. In her candid interview with Elle, Victoria Beckham did something she's rarely done before. She got real. She revealed that yes, there was a time when her fashion line was struggling. The brand that now walks Paris runways once faced whispers that it was a vanity project funded by her husband, the kind of talk that can sink a reputation before it even starts. But rather than deny it, she addressed it head on. She said, "That wasn't about opinion. That was fact. My business was struggling." For someone known for her polished image and stoic confidence, those words hit differently. They revealed a woman who had fought tooth and nail to build credibility in an industry that had already decided she didn't deserve it. And just as the world thought they'd figured her out, Victoria was quietly working on something that would change everything. A project that would finally tell her side of the story in her own words. Streaming this October, Victoria Beckham, the Netflix docuseries, promises to pull back the curtain on one of the most private powerhouses in pop culture. It's not just about fashion shows or celebrity appearances, it's about what it really took to get here. Viewers will see Victoria unfiltered, the creative stress, the business struggles, the balancing act of being a mom, designer, and public figure. In the series, she opens up about the early skepticism, when every move she made was criticized. She even admits to moments of vulnerability, saying, "I had to leave my vanity at the door." It's a fascinating mirror to her husband's own Netflix success with Beckham, which revealed his life behind the fame. Now it's her turn. And insiders say the docuseries doesn't shy away from the raw truth, including how close her brand came to collapsing before her perseverance turned it around. But what makes this even more interesting is how she and David have handled their renewed fame. Because in 2025, the Beckhams have evolved, not just as celebrities, but as a brand of their own. There was a time when David and Victoria Beckham's marriage was tabloid fodder, endless rumors, front-page headlines, speculation about distance and drama. But lately, something has shifted. They're not just surviving public scrutiny, they're thriving on it, together. From red carpet appearances to social media posts, the couple has leaned into their narrative with authenticity and humor. David praises Victoria's work ethic. She teases him in interviews. Their chemistry feels real, comfortable, and, most importantly, unbothered. And that's the magic of their rebrand. They've gone from being the couple everyone gossiped about to the couple everyone respects. At Paris Fashion Week, that kiss, subtle yet deeply symbolic, sealed it. A quiet reminder that through every rumor, every headline, and every fashion crisis, they've stood side by side. But perhaps what truly defines Victoria's rebirth isn't just the glitz or the marriage, it's how fans have started to see her now. Online, the shift in tone is unmistakable. For years, Victoria Beckham was the ice queen, the woman who never smiled, the fashion designer critics loved to underestimate. But after years of consistency, discipline, and silent progress, the internet has changed its tune. Reddit threads call her the underrated comeback story in pop culture. TikTok clips of her Paris Fashion Week moment rack up millions of views, with fans commenting, "She did it her way." Even former critics now call her a blueprint for reinvention, a woman who quietly turned mockery into motivation. Her story resonates because it's universal. She's no longer the untouchable Spice Girl. She's the woman who failed, fell, and still found a way to stand taller than ever. And maybe that's what people love most. She didn't reinvent herself for the world. She reinvented herself despite it.
Victoria Beckham's journey isn't just about clothes or fame, it's about resilience. She was mocked for trying, doubted for daring, and yet she built a legacy that can't be undone by headlines or hashtags. Her Paris Fashion Week show wasn't just another chapter, it was the climax of a 2-decade comeback. The pop star turned designer turned mogul, standing on a runway surrounded by the family that once watched her fight for credibility, now celebrating her victory. And as she prepares for the release of her Netflix docuseries, the message is clear. The story of Victoria Beckham isn't about being perfect, it's about being relentless. Because sometimes the most powerful fashion statement isn't a dress or a headline, it's survival. And Victoria Beckham, she's not just surviving anymore, she's setting the standard.